So with a new Resident Evil 2 remake out now for a couple of months, we had a chance to fight William Birkin and his many G transformations, ranging from his more humanoid first form to all the way to his grotesque and massive final mutation, where we see him take over a whole portion of a train that Leon and Claire were using to escape. But this battle reminded me of Eveline's final boss battle in RE7, and someone suggested I do a versus battle between these two monsters in this current state. Anyways, what is up you guys, this is DeVuH, and in this video we're going to be doing a battle between William G5 versus Eveline, where we see a bit of a comical scenario if we had both monsters face mutations inching slowly towards each other, where we can compare how they got to this point in their mutation and seeing how both the G virus and mold strain affected the respective hosts. Anyways, before we get started, please feel free to like and subscribe for more Resident Evil content in the future. Alright, so let's start off with William Birkin, where we knew he injected himself with the G virus after being fatally shot by the Umbrella's USS operatives as they were trying to retrieve the G virus samples from him, but this would subsequently cause William to transform into this overwhelming monster. As we played both the classic Resident Evil 2 and the new RE2 remake, we had a chance to see William transform from his first G mutation up to his final blob form, where by this time in the game, he had no semblance of his once human self, with the many tentacles that protrude out of his body and that massive orifice with teeth bearing towards our protagonist. With RE2 Remake's version, we see him fully fleshed out, showcasing the uncontrollable aspect of his mutation, where we get the chance to see him with his many appendages and the many unnecessary body parts that the G monster is trying to form. Also, what's noticeably prevalent in this version of William's G5 mutation is the infestation of his flesh making its way throughout the walls of the train, which wasn't present in the classic Resident Evil 2, with the general premise of him being this large mutated mass is roughly the same. Also, the next aspect to William in RE2 Remake is the presence of that one large G eyeball that comes out after we've dealt enough damage to him, being that large target that Eveline could take advantage of, but we'll get to that in a little bit later. So overall, William in this final mutation looks generally daunting, but in this form he's fairly easy to handle, as long as we don't get too close to him. So with William being quickly covered, let's discuss Eveline and her mold strain, starting with her creation and the reason as to why she has the appearance of a 10-year-old girl, because she was created by an organization called the Connections, and having the mold genome implanted in her during her embryonic stage, then cultivating it for several weeks. This in turn would have her be able to control the mold strain and infect anyone who she desires, with the most prominent characters of this infection was with the Baker family.
Oh shit, he's not eating it, Jack! He's not eating it!
Get the hell up, Marguerite!
I made that for him!
Get the hell out of here!
You're a son of a bitch! Oh, I can't believe it, he's son of a bitch! He's not eating it! He's not
Also, her appearance as a 10-year-old girl was deliberate, which would have her infiltrate any area without alerting any suspicion. But with this enhancement with the mold strain, it didn't come without any kind of drawback, because the side effect of the mold strain on her body is that she would have an accelerated aging process, which would have her looking like this in just a couple of years. Anyways, as we played RE7, we eventually would deal with her in the end, where she was injected with the E-necrotizing serum that was supposed to incapacitate her to a certain degree, but as a last-ditch effort to try to kill us, Eveline would mutate into this massive face-wall monster with many tentacles, and her general appearance prominently pronounced, with her key features still recognizable, but in a more distorted way. Anyways, this overall mutation is similar to William's G5 mutation, and that she consumes the whole back portion of the room, where she also inches up slowly towards our character, and uses her tentacles to attack our protagonist. Even the death animation can be considered similar to William's if we get too close to her as well. So with both monsters quickly covered, let's discuss who would win in this weird face-to-face battle, where we can see both monsters slowly inching towards each other, where we have William and Eveline use their many tentacles. But this of course would be a battle of attrition, because regardless of how many swipes they hit each other, any real damage wouldn't really happen until they both get close enough to each other, where we can see William use that large orifice and the many razor-sharp teeth that he has, trying to get a chunk out of the grotesque molded Eveline. But at the same time, we could have Eveline do the same thing, but William in this aspect can be a bit more vulnerable, because he has that large G eyeball right smack in the middle. So Eveline can target that and have William reeling for a bit, similar as to how he reacted when either Leon or Claire stabbed that piece of pipe into him. Also, it makes me wonder how their overall infestation of their environment would work out, because like I mentioned earlier, both monsters had their G-virus flesh or mold spreading in their respective environments, so who's to say one or the other would start to take over one of the other monsters' flesh eventually. Anyways, as we have both monsters inching towards each other, I can see Eveline changing things up a bit and start moving ferociously like she did when she burst through the house in RE7, extending her mutation until she's able to whiplash back and forth and dodging any of William's attacks. While the G monster is stuck at one spot, because I've yet to really see him be mobile at any capacity in this mutation, so this could be a detriment to him overall. So in the end, Eveline would eventually overwhelm William with the way that she's still very mobile with this stage of her mutation, possibly having her many tentacles stab William while she stays so far from the G monster. Anyways, what do you guys think would happen if both of these monsters at this particular stage of the mutation confronts each other? Please let me know in the comment section down below. Anyways, thank you guys for watching my William G5 versus Eveline video, and if you guys enjoy the content, please don't forget to hit that notification bell icon so you guys can be alerted when I upload my next video. Anyways, again, thank you, and as always, you guys have a great rest of your day, and this is Hey DeVuH, signing out.